a chant of compassion and love by one of my favorite teachers, Chen Racy. He has the most beautiful voice. And it's a sadhana. It's very short. But stay here with me in this breath, in this light. Breathing in this essence. Just being. Right here, right now. Prayer of auspiciousness.
Sanje Judan Soje Junala Janjo Bardo Dane Jazonje Age Jenso Jebe Sonanje Jolan Bencher Sanje Jobajo Dazo Kaja Senjenje Jezo Beka Daweden Shele Pancho Jereze Kasa Oze Nadendo Zenzon Toje Jenjeze Chaje Dambo Tajanze Unye Shenchen Begana Tadan Renjen Jenje Reda Babe Tuyoso Oba Mebe Ujenje Shanye Doje Jezhongzhou Zhimen Dawa Jadenba Jane Gondo Mojo Jowo Jenje Mago Gondo Ga Zozan Jeje Ola Jin Toje Jenje Rola Ze Jere Zela Janzaro Teda Zeje Sotabe Pabe Gule Ozenjo Madalenan Tujeja Chenen Dewa Jinjishin Nanjo Jendro Lungasen Jire Zewan Gosunto Nanja Redon Yemejo yin rin han pa bi gu da da yi ge zhu bi yang chen do yi xie chen bu lu ge wan de ye nyu tu da jin re ze wan zhu ju ne zhu wa jie jiang ma le ba de ye sa lang go ba ju de da gan de ji be so na ji da dan da lan zhe don zhou wa gun me zan lun de po wan jiu ma da de wa jin de zu de jie wa zhu jie ma da du sa zhe ra zhe ne zhe be zhu zhu yin de jie ba zhu
Staying with the breath. Continuing to breathe. Softly, gently. This awareness. Breathe. Slowly move your attention back to your heart if you've drifted. Breathing into this heart. Breathing into this heart. Breathing into this heart. Om Mani Padme, Om Mani Padme. Breathe. I'd like you to move your attention to Coming back into the room slowly, or whenever you're ready. Gently open your eyes. You can move your fingers and toes. The light in me bows, the light in you. Honoring and bowing to the light that you are. You can move your neck to help you come back dormant. Drink your water. And today, when that meditation, I call it, it's a gift from Chenrys. He popped up on my screen. I knew I had to share it. And I feel blessed to have felt his presence and that of all of my teachers. I know Darlene's presence is here, his presence. I felt so supported during the meditation itself. So to honor all of the teachers that have blessed me on this path, on my journey. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
You too, Chris. Hi, Victor. Could you turn on your camera? I don't even know if you're back. We're going to wait for you to turn on your camera before we continue. Otherwise, he's probably not back yet. Oh, there you are. We can't really see you, just it's dark in the space, but it's
Yeah,
enough to see that you're back.
I'm gonna turn it off again.
Is there a reason for keeping it off?
Honestly, I only had like 2 hours of some sleep. Kind of want to be in bed.
Oh, you want to lay down? Okay, sure,
Yeah.
sure. You can do that. Do what you need to be comfortable.
Thank you.
Whatever needs to land will land. Mm. So today, I feel like I want to wrap up the money conversation with, oh my goodness, I guess there's a few pages of stuff in relation to our money habits. And I have this word authenticity written on the page. Whatever I was channeling there. Yesterday, I visited this space that I hadn't been to in about 8 years. Nah, maybe 7 years, 6, 7 years. Probably 7 years. And it's one of the most beautiful spaces in Vancouver, actually, in Cole Harbor. The most beautiful hotel. It's like huge. And then the Paladin is the building next to it. And my daughter and I stayed there for a couple of days while we lived in the shelter. For Christmas, somebody gifted a space to us so we could spend Christmas outside of the shelter because of all, as a thank you for helping the children and the women. The story had got out into the news, and it was like all over TV and the newspaper and such. And it was interesting because I felt like I needed to go there. And so as I went, there was a coffee space called Breaking Bean. And it's relating to my money mindset and where I was, 7 years ago. Because we nicknamed this coffee place Breaking Wallet or Breaking Bank. Because back then I was like, oh my God, everything is so expensive here. That old limiting belief mindset, like, oh my God, it is too expensive, because I was so still in that restrictive mind space and how I saw and felt about money and the prices for things, And back then it never occurred to me that, well, if I was the owner of that coffee shop in that specific location, I would price my items just exactly like it is, because the tourists and the people that goes through that location, and goes to that hotel is, in a different level of abundance. So they can pay those prices, for whatever you're having. But I didn't see it that way. I remember I used to go down to that coffee shop with Charlotte. And of course, on income assistance, we had little money. And so we would buy, like a breakfast or lunch or something. But as I'm eating and as I'm there, all I could feel is how expensive this is. All I could feel, is, oh my God, I just spent this amount of money on food, right? And so my mind was just so occupied with how much I was spending and how much this food cost. I barely really enjoyed it when you think about it, because all I can think about is my bank account and how much money I have left in it and how many days that money need to, last us. You can see the trend here, right? Limiting. So of course, if I'm thinking all of those thoughts, money is limited. This little bit that I have, that needs to last, I'm putting that vibration out to the universe. So of course, that's what's going to come back to me, a little bit of money that lasts. So you know what I mean? Literally everything that I'm thinking, and of course, because I'm feeling it so deeply, I was manifesting that situation for myself without realizing because that's what we do. In fact, over the 8 years, I became obsessed with always looking at my bank account as opposed to just enjoying the flow and the fact that, several years later, we're still here. There's always money flowing to us. I can ask, we can receive, we can all ask, we can receive. Most importantly, there's an abundance of it out there. In every direction, we just have to be able to draw that energy to us. The beautiful, clean energy by clearing our limiting beliefs. And authenticity is very, very important. Throughout the program, we talked about when we ask for money for something specific, we make sure we use it for what we're asking for. Use it to nourish our highest expression, our highest experiences. That experience itself was in a higher vibration, but I wasn't seeing it that way. All I saw was how expensive it was. And so as I was sitting there, I ordered this beautiful bagel, with avocado and stuff and chai tea. I sat outside because there's Cole Harbor with all the water and everything. Beautiful space, beautiful. Very good energy. And I was messaging, just responding to a message in my thing from Ken Honda, commented on something. And I heard somebody said, Francesca? And I look up. And there it was. Oh my God, right at that moment, my heart just burst open, and I saw this beautiful man, Christian is his name. He's a realtor here in Vancouver. And I remember just before he called my name and I was writing that message, I was thinking, wow, it's so nice to sit here and not think about how much this food costs or any of that, and just be in this space wow. And then I was reflecting on where I was 8 years ago and here I am now. And when he said Francesca, I looked up and I'm like, oh, my heart just burst open. I'm like, oh my God, can I hug you? That was the first thing I'm looking at because I just wanted to grab this man and just hug him so tight. And I gave him so much love and gratitude from my heart because this was the man who in Starbucks after asking me, what is it that I do? Because he saw all these people coming and visiting me in Starbucks all the time and leaving very happy. And I shared with him that diagram I shared with you guys on the very first day, you know, in the beginning of time, short circuiting of the Kundalini energy to spine. And I said, this is the information. I kept it very short, like 10 minutes. And I said, I teach people how to go from here to here. And so I introduced them to the essence of who they truly are, you know, beautiful beings of love and light. And he was the one that said, Francesca, you need to teach this to everybody. He's like, I may not have understood every single thing that you said here right now, because I've never heard some of it or any of it before. And he said, for that reason, because whatever you were, when you were saying it, it was doing something to me. And I feel like you've helped me. And I don't know how, but he's like, you need to teach this to everybody. And I said, oh, no. I'm not ordained, you know, I don't think I'm allowed, you know, I'm not a monk or anything. I'm not allowed. The monks are probably going to laugh at me if I go out teaching the Eightfold Path and, you know, the Four Noble Truths. Like, where did this person come from? You know, where did she appear from all of a sudden, right? So I had so many limiting beliefs and fear about fully stepping into my power. And he said, just think about it, Francesca, just think about it. And he sat on the table next to me, just on the other table behind, because it's like in a row kind of thing. And within 22 minutes of him sitting down, and I was blissing out already that day. All the universe had already sent, you know, Dan, the other monk, the other one. So 2 monks had already said, Francesca, you need to start teaching. And so I went to the Starbucks so I can breathe, you know, and think about this and all of that, you know, trying to work through my own limiting beliefs. And then this man came and he says this to me, and I'm like, oh my God, right? And within 22 minutes, I birthed from that diagram, this entire program. 22 minutes. I was still in meditative, like I was still in bliss, like my body, there was like things happening to me. I was moving out. It feels like you're dizzy. And I got up, my legs were shaking, but I walked over to his because my whole body was shaking when I was done birthing it. And I walked over to this table and I put my hands together and I bow and I said, thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know who you are, what energy you brought here today, but I know I just said no to you, and those were my limiting beliefs, because I think I just birthed the structure of my workshop. And he's like, yes, see, Francesca, you can do it. And he's like, if you like, you know, you can come and sit down with me at any time and I will help you review it and help you show you, you know, I'll sit and you can share it with me, and I will help you fix it or do anything that you think you need to do. And I was like, thank you, thank you. And he said, when you're ready to teach, I will even offer you a space. If you don't have a space, you know, you can come to my home. I'm sure my wife will benefit from it. You know, we will invite people. And I was like, my God, like, you know, when these things, unless these things happen, you're like, you know, I was like, shit. By then I was like, I just burst into complete meditative bliss and I had to leave the Starbucks, of course, thanking him profusely. And I walked home because I knew, like, with that depth of bliss and experience, I had to be in my home. So I came home and I just erupt into like laughter, just laughing, and I couldn't stop laughing, and I just laughed and laughed and laughed. And so yesterday when I saw him and I shared with him briefly what's, you know, about the 21 day, what we've been doing and so forth. And he said, the next step now is to practice good money habits. And I thought, wow, it's like he knew what I was thinking, because it's something that I need to practice, you know, as opposed to going Hi, Anna. As opposed to going, constantly to the Starbucks and just, you know what I mean? Like I just used my money without any, just to practice the flow and making sure I don't have any blockages and stuff. So clearly I had moved something huge. And so as I was sitting at the coffee shop, there he was giving me another key, the next key that landed in such a powerful way for me. My focus just started to, I was like, wow, I swear to God, I think this man is an angel in human form. Because I came home, I was so blissful that I came home and I forgot why I had gone to Cole Harbor in the first place. Because originally I wasn't really going for the coffee shop. All of that just was intuitive guidance as I was flowing there. I went to pick up something. I forgot that's what I was supposed to do. And then somebody reached out to me for help as I was walking there. And I forgot everything, literally everything. So I came back home and I had this huge purge, things, just the final stages of a couple of things from the experience from when I was there 8 years ago, my journey, where I've come, where I'm at now, all the way to yesterday. And then I went to sleep. So money habits. And it's so interesting because I wrote down about that before I saw him yesterday, because the first thing on the list after say what you mean and mean what you say, which is authenticity, right? Practicing good money habits is about examining your money mindset behind how you spend, what you spend on. Do you self-compromise? And which habits do you feed? The habit that keeps you stuck in the lower vibration, the lower habits, that feeds your limiting beliefs, these conditioning, these programs that we run, such as, and this is a big one for everybody, and nobody wants to let go of this habit, television. Yeah, I got rid of mine. I took it downstairs and put it in the garage, like in the building. Years ago. And I was shocked at how happy Charlotte was about that. Because I'm like, at first she was like, Mama, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, we're going to get rid of a TV. She's like, no, why are you getting rid of a TV? I'm like, think about it. If I get rid of a TV, it means we can go outside every single day and just be in nature and do the things we love. She's like, okay, I'll help you. We carried the TV downstairs and left it in the garage. And I kept my word every single day. We went to Stanley Park. We still do when she's here, right? She's still at her grandma's. We go swimming and all the things that we do. And she never even asked or missed the TV, right? Instead, I pay every now and again for a subscription to Gaia, which is high vibrational, nourishes my higher states, And right now I have a subscription to Amazon of all places, and that's awful because I'm not a fan of Jeff Bezos, but I order, because of C19, I order a lot of things from Amazon, and by having a subscription, I get free delivery. for everything that I order. So I'm getting a benefit from having an Amazon Prime subscription right now. Because I'm used to now ordering everything online, and I love it. So what habits do you feed? And it's interesting because one of the habits that I fed is in the lower vibration, even though I'm in awareness of it, is I spend too much time eating out, buying food, you know? Because I'm like, oh, it's so easy to do that. And that's my bad habit. So there, now you guys know. Even though I'm an alchemist in the kitchen and I love it, it's so easy to do it here in Vancouver because I'm right on Robson Street. Everything, it's, you know. And I have to admit, the people who cook like the vegetarian and vegan food, oh my God, it tastes way better than mine. I think it does anyways. They're really good. I'm still learning. So when you pray for money and you receive it, do with it what you asked for. And like Ken Honda said, happy money is arigato in, arigato out. I think I do actually. I'm gonna look for it in my notes and I'll send it. Yeah, but you know what? The best thing to do, because everybody's money imprint is unique to themselves based on their upbringing, right? And whatever conditions, you know, so whatever your parents believe, that's the beliefs that were passed down to you, right? And also, depending on which country you grew up in, so environment, that massively influences your money mindset. If you grew up in a place like India, where you witness suffering and people so poor, you're going to have that imprint of that poor money mindset, right? Or hardship, or thinking that you have to suffer to get money, right? Or that you have to work really hard to get money. This isn't work. I'm not working. I am serving. And it does not feel like work. 2 hours a day. Yes, that's a good one, Dharma, that we're not worthy of it, which goes into our not enoughness, not deserving of, right? And thinking we need to do more than we actually are too. And again, you know, I used to be an overgiver, right? I had no balance. And that came from my not enoughness. And that's a deep one because it takes, at least I think it takes a couple of years to heal that energy because it runs so deep. It ties into everything, into all of our relationships. So like if you're in a relationship with somebody and that person left you, you start to question yourself. What did I do wrong? You know, wasn't I not enough? You know, did I not do this? And you start to really program yourself. And recognizing that you are enough. Dharma asked a question. Sorry, it's hard to channel and read the questions at the same time. So I'm trying to do both. How to overcome that imprint is to be able to recognize it in its arising. Recognize that, hey, remember that aha moment? There's a program here. That's what's happening. 9 out of 10 times right there, it just disappears. But if it comes back, you know, a few days later, there's a program here. And you can sit with it. Sit with the feeling, sit with the thoughts, allow them to rise, and just be present and breathe with it. From this awareness, I am enough. You are enough. Who told me that I'm not enough? Who's telling me that I'm not enough? And why is it telling me that I'm not enough? The why will take you exactly to the root cause of the arising thought or feeling. And like I said, these not enoughness imprints come from multiple sources, relationships with parents. If you were the, I call it the rainbow sheep in the family. If in a relationship you were the one who the other person decided to leave, literally the not enoughness comes from our experiences in our relationships. Even our relationships at work. In relation, how are we being treated at work? A lot of times it feels like you're not working enough, or the work you're doing is not good enough, depending on if you have a toxic manager or not, right? In my corporate career, I was blessed. I feel blessed, even though there was a negative, toxic parts. The blessing in all of it is I've always had wonderful, wonderful bosses. I guess they would be my boss in that situation, you know? And the universe always carved a way out somehow for those in like executive positions and stuff to see me and the work that I was doing. And I know a lot of women say that they have issues with men in the workplace. I will tell you, I've never had an issue with men in the workplace. My God, the men love my work so much. But you know what? It took me showing up over and over, applying myself. And you know what? They embraced it. So I was one of the lucky people who got to SAT, like, for example, the bank and the Diversity Council and places like that. I was chosen. But it's because I always, you know, when I go to work, I worked with my heart. And so I produce the best quality of work that I possibly can. I was focused. And that's what I did every single day. That's it. Every single day, I just produced the best quality of work. presentation. So I was always an analyst, and in some way, even as a project manager, I still had the analytical role, you know. So I developed processes and procedures to help with tracking information and produce all these beautiful graphs and so forth. And they like that, you know, to see performance, how that's going. So I always all my bosses were men. And they were wonderful. They were absolutely wonderful. They still are. We're all still friends. Although I haven't connected with them in a couple of years. In fact, I've only come across one really, really tough guy. And again, you know, now I know it's because of his imprints. He was determined to give me a hard time. You know, the company made a rule, and he's like, I'm not following any rule. I love him for that now, because I'm like, oh my God, you know? And so when it was time to do his performance in the software, he would say, Francesca, don't even come to my office, you F off. And he would swear. I'd be like, okay, just let me know when you're ready. And I'll come back, because you know we got to do this whether you want to or not. And my office was right outside of his office. And then within like half an hour or so, I'd hear, Francesca, are you there? It's fine, you can come in. I'll do it with you. Doesn't mean I'm following the rule. And I'm probably one of the only people that he would allow to do that, you know? He told everybody else to fuck off. And then he stopped telling me that after a while. He was like, okay, let's do this now before I change my mind, you know? He just liked to feel a little bit like he was in control. And that's okay. I needed my stats, the numbers, so I didn't care what he was feeling or thinking. As long as at the end of the day I got them, that's all that was important. And I'm sharing those stories because it all comes down to how we show up. You know, we can show up from our limiting beliefs, from these conditions, or we could just land in our hearts over and over again and show up from that space, from our hearts. No matter what, the results will always be tenfold. So when you visualize money, what does it look like to you? How does it feel? What color does it have? How does it taste? Do you feel constrictions in your body? Where in your body do you feel that constriction? In your throat, the heart, solar plexus? Listen deeply, feel, allow yourself to feel. And when you find where that constriction is, stay focused on it and just start breathing into it. There's stuck energy here. There's a constriction in relation to money, right? And just breathe into it, and it will dissolve. Become present. Allow your awareness to become present with it. And breathe. And sometimes, depending on how deep or whatever the energy is, I always say thank you. Thank you for showing me. Thank you, Pure Awareness, for showing me that there's a program here. Thanking the energy for showing me that you're here. This is where you are. Thank you for serving me during the time that you did. But I no longer need this program. You no longer serve me now. And breathe. You can do visualization. Imagine the energy from that space leaving, and becoming smaller and smaller. You can use the technique where we use the scissors, the golden fiery scissors, to cut that cord as it leaves. You can even watch that energy leave on wings, wrap it in a beautiful white light. There's so many techniques. Allow your intuition to guide you and show you which technique you to use, or which modality, what you need to do, and trust in the process that emerges for you. Majority of the time, it'll be just being present with it and just breathing. And if as if you're breathing, you're feeling triggered, that's when I get up and move the body. You may need to dance, stomp it out, shake. Because that energy, as it's moving, will seek some form of expression sometimes, right? Especially if it's stuck at the cellular level in the body. Movement. Is important. It's a key to breaking it up. So examine how your body feels when you visualize money. When it comes to authenticity, examine your communication. Are you honest in your communication? Do you speak the truth, or do you self-compromise? Or do you speak what you think the other person wants to hear, which is another way of self-compromising? Or do you show up in all of your vulnerability, your messiness, your love, all of it? Open up the chest and just show up. Because guess what? You're not the only one that's in your messiness and shadow and, vulnerable. In fact, we were conditioned to hide our vulnerability. Take all the fucking masks off, rip your chest open wide. And just be. You will see how much freedom comes from that. And how good it actually feels. That's the best part, is how good it actually feels, which is the opposite of what you were thinking before you did it. And how much people will be, oh my God, how open they are. Thank you for being vulnerable. You just gave me courage to be vulnerable too. The world will actually embrace you for it, which is opposite of all the stories that the ego mind tells you to keep you from not doing it. And authenticity with money and communication is the biggest and probably the longest part of the journey. And I'm saying this, it's because the question I wrote here is, are you dishonest in your communication to others or with others about money? I remember in the past when I used to ask my parents for money or my sisters because I had poor spending habits. There was no balance. It was really messy back then. And I just came out of the shelter from a 2-year of constriction and restrictive with rules and all of these things. That when I came out into my own apartment, into the world, the first year, I was just spending like freedom, you know, when you experience like if you just came out of jail and all of a sudden you have freedom for the first time. But you know what? It took me 2 months to leave my apartment. Because that mindset and the conditioning from that shelter was still present. And in the shelter, we had to be back by midnight. There were rules around times. So the realization that I was free in itself was a journey. I can go to the beach at any time and I can stay out till past midnight. Oh my God. And not get into trouble. Right? So the questions I have is, do you tell the truth? Do you keep your word? Or do you avoid someone that perhaps you owe money because your spending is out of balance, not because you're broke? Here is this key, very, very important. It's not because you're broke, it's because the spending is out of balance. And it's not out of balance because, you know, you set out to do that on purpose. It's out of balance because our entire money mindset is operating on conditioning, how we were conditioned to be, how we were conditioned to spend our money, what we were conditioned to spend our money on. Don't even get me started on the TV commercials. You know, it's sad people are looking at this stuff. This is where the marketing industry really injured us, humanity in general, you know, buying things to be someone else, to be something they're not. Can you imagine, like, say, if you stop buying makeup, how much money you'll save if I stop buying Starbucks? Keeping my ego checked. Do you need 100 pieces of clothing? You know? So abundance itself is a mindset. Is it a state of being, or I call it, and it's like tapping into a stream of consciousness that is very different from where we're operating at right here, right now. I myself, I'm still practicing tapping into that stream, and well, I'm in that stream now, but staying there for longer and longer periods of time in that flow. And not allowing my spending, how I use my money or how I allocate it, to go out of balance to support old habits of mine, which happens every time I meet my sister and we have lunch or spend a few days together, not because it's her fault. It's because when we connect, the first thing we do is eat food. We want to eat food that we grew up with as children. And so that's meat, because I grew up in a family that hunted and so forth. So for a long time, I used to I call it fall behind in the journey, because we would meet and we would eat, we would go, to the seafood place, or, we would just indulge. But then the next day, I'm still indulging. And the next day, and the next day, even though I'm in awareness that this isn't supporting my physical body, that the spending is going out of balance now. But there's a program, a family program in relation to money that I discovered. It's like, holy shit, there's a family program too. Right? And so it would happen every time, and I couldn't understand for a long time why this was happening. Turns out there's a family program that I was running at the subconscious level that ignited, that when this pattern gets, ignited, it just starts to run automatically. Look for the patterns. And another big one is, what is your victim story around money? Because when we do not see, when we do not even know, let's forget about seeing, when we don't even know that all of the programming we have around money were just a bunch of limiting beliefs and really fucked up programs. And this way of being, really, it came out of television, right? And these majority of it from television. We become attached to thingness and all of these things. Thingness, my God. And so we're always spending on things that don't even support our higher conscious self, and we don't even know it. But then we create a victim story around not having money, being poor, but we don't recognize that the reason we're not having money is because of how we're using our money, this energy, how we're using this energy, where we're allocating this energy, how we're doing that, how our conditioning that drives that. The subconscious programs, right? And there's a question here, which I absolutely love. I'd like you guys to journal this question, because this is a really good question. What is the difference between someone who can manifest cash, money, versus a thing like food or, so an abundance of food? God knows I can manifest food till like the cows, literally like the cows are here. Like, I can manifest food like magic. What do you think the difference is between a person who can manifest cash, money, versus a person who can manifest food or other things? Actually, I can manifest a lot of things, clothing, all kinds of stuff. But when it came to cash, sometimes I would pray. When there's the $5 in the bank account, this is when I was in that limiting money belief, and I didn't know about happy money. And I would pray and nothing would happen. But somebody would come and give me a whole bunch of food, or a friend would come and go, hey, friend, I'm going to take you for lunch. I was like, that's not what I'm asking for. I need money to buy groceries. And then I realized there is no difference. It's because we believe that there is a difference. There is that disconnection right there. Manifestation happens from the heart, from the pure intention of your heart. There is no difference between cash or a thing. Our dualistic mind and the conditioning makes us believe that there is a difference, but there isn't. So as we become whole, we start to get rid of that separation, because that separation that we were conditioned into, that right now the government is trying to condition everybody into again, separating the vaccinated people from the unvaccinated people. That's psychological. We're in a psychological warfare. Absolutely no doubt of it. Right? Reinforcing that separation mindset. And what comes with separation mindset? Judgment. So you see, it's reinforcing. So first there is a problem that was created to infuse these places that were at their near-death experience, like Big Pharma, because people are waking up. They're learning about their bodies, how they're supposed to take care of their bodies and so forth. So these places that were coming to, having their near-death experience, they all got rebooted because they triggered everybody's fear of death itself. And death is nothing like we thought it is, like we were taught that it is even. That's a whole other topic. I hope by tomorrow we'll get to it, because I love that topic and I love talking about it for the reasons of the fact that what we were told death is versus what it actually is. It's completely different. And all of these places that got rebooted, now they're working on, the separation, the judgment. So just reinforcing those low vibrational programs. So it's honestly, I think it's genius the way they're doing it. Like, it's brilliant. Very clearly it was, perfectly planned and delivered. So there is an attempt to reboot those old cycles of suffering, the programs that keeps us stuck within the cycles of suffering, the karmic cycles of suffering. Because that's a food source for the energy that goes into that. It's a food source for those entities. So just renewing of the karmic contracts, yeah. And it's happening slowly. And those who are awake and has, enough awareness about what's going on, or, choosing to stand in their power, thank goodness that's happening. No matter what information is out there, and that's a good thing of getting rid, got a good reason for getting rid of the TV, because there's so much, all we see is the negativity. There isn't any time on television that shows us Oh my God, look at all of these beautiful people. They're waking up into their state of pure awareness. Oh my goodness, they're using breath work and yoga and all these healing modalities, you know, to heal themselves. They've healed themselves from PTSD. They've cured themselves from cancer. Where is that television program? So that feeling of not good enoughness ties into unworthiness, survival, not survival that is a natural, pure manifestation of the ego mind in its purest form when it's trying to keep us safe. We were programmed into survival, especially with money. You know, we need money to survive. What are we surviving from? Are we dying? You know? And lack, feelings of lack. Sometimes I wish we're doing more than 21 days, you know, because these are just really tips of the iceberg. Of course, in there's deep work underneath each and every one, right? Based on the programs that you're running to heal all of those so that you can land fully and recognize and know that you are enough, right? So one of the things I do to practice keeping my throat chakra, and a lot of money energy is right here, is, you know, and then I do this over and over to keep myself clear, is when my mom sent me money a few months ago with the Ken Honda, when I did the Ken Honda thing. Oh, I was so excited. I went out and I took Charlotte out and we went out for breakfast and then we went out for dinner. And I said, you know, Mom, thank you so much, because you know what I did? The first thing I did is because I was so excited. I took Charlotte out and we went out for breakfast and then we went out for dinner, and it just felt so darn good. And you know what? She didn't go, oh, you just wasted the money I sent you. She's like, that's good. That's good. I'm glad you guys got to do that. Whoa. Being truthful and being clear, not being afraid of judgment, and not letting my awareness that I have this habit sometimes. It's minimal now. I used to have it for a long time, for years. I had it really bad, the habit of eating out and all of that crap. But all of those things help to clear those energies, move those blocks. Authenticity. So I practice it, keep practicing it. You will physically in the body feel the difference when you do it, actually. It'll feel like a wave. At least that's what a lot of my clients say. They say when they, you know, practice at that depth, you know, like going around, they said it suddenly feels like if there's like a wave in the body. That's the way it's felt like to me. And most importantly, because all you guys are here, it means you guys aren't doing the next year mantra. With the story, you know, of the guy that told the kids, oh yeah, you know, he's working every day at a job, and told the kids, you know, next year Christmas will be better. That story came from Bob Proctor, actually. Bob Proctor. I can't say his two names together. It's like or my tongue wants to do that every time I try to say it. It's weird. Bob Proctor. there. He said to the guy, called him aside and said, I'm going to be honest with you. Nothing is going to happen next year. It'll be exactly the same. Unless you choose to do something differently. Right? And then he invited him to one of his programs and, taught where he teaches actually how to become abundant, how to make money, how to start your own business, how to get out of your own way. In those areas. Because unless you're making effort, which goes back to what we were talking about, taking that step every single day to do something right here, right now, to change your situation, it's not going to change. And that's why I call it the next year mantra. Nothing's going to happen next year. And so one of the other homework questions is, I want you guys to think of a giant bill, like a big bill that you have to pay. Rent is usually a good one, but it's easy because I kind of shared with you guys, how to be grateful, why it's important to be grateful to pay rent because of, the shelter and so forth. So think of a big bill and examine how you feel. This is really important. It allows you to go deep, how you feel when you pay it. And then examine, whilst you're in that examination process, if at any time, as you're examining how you feel about paying this bill, if at any time you were able to recognize or be in awareness of why you have to pay this, why you get to pay this bill. And do this one tonight or today, whatever time it is there for you, because I would love to hear tomorrow what came up for you. There's a big, so I want to hear what comes up for you guys tomorrow. And if you're able to go a step further, because you've been learning, you're coming into awareness, you are in awareness, see if you can reframe, examine what service that bill is currently providing to you, and so forth. And we're going to talk about gratitude again tomorrow. And before you buy something, ask yourself, which energy am I serving? Because the universe respectfully and always honors our belief system. It never makes any mistakes, ever. And tomorrow, I think I want to dive into the 7, because just to put it out there so that you guys hear it, the 7 laws of the universe. We're on time today. So it's perfect because that was literally the last question on my list. Wow. I am so in love with the colors and that painting, Kara, like, wow. Please share it again. Wow.
I will. I'll take a picture.
Yes, please. Wow.
Okay.
Look at how beautiful that is. That's all you guys' energy. That's everybody's energy. Energy is the program, the bridge.
Yep.
All the elements. Look, the third eye, the crown chakra, the little lotus, all of it. It's all there. The seat of consciousness, the heart.
Yeah.
Water, fire. Because we are the elements, aren't we? Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, Kara, for doing this for us. Like, wow. So the light in me bows to the light that you are, the love that you are. I love you guys. Mwah. Thank you. I just want to give you guys like big mushy kisses. That's what I did to Charlotte, my daughter. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Bye, Victor.
All right.
We'll
Take
see
care.
you tomorrow. Bye. Hey, Anna. Good morning.
Good morning. You cannot imagine how many things happen, but see, I never recognize it at the house.
Is that the sun?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So, but you said about science and I couldn't connect and I was so angry and I saw the sun and I'm like, it's okay.
You just start laughing because that's what I do.
Yeah, I
You
just
know,
thought,
when
yeah,
my mind
but
gets in the way and then the universe is like, oh, darn.
no, but you see, it's the sun and you see, it's all a lot of sunflowers.
Wow. That's
So
so
I was
beautiful out there.
yeah, a lot of nature. I can bring you actually. Wait 1 second. I will just turn on the camera.